The much-loved Honda Jazz is no longer available here in Malaysia, replaced by this, the all-new Honda City Hatchback. Essentially, this is a hatch version of the regular city sedan, but this time it's targeted towards the younger crowd with a more active lifestyle. So what is this car all about? Let's find out. The new City Hatchback comes in 4 different variants, starting with the S at 75,000 ringgit. Moving up, the E goes for around 83,000 ringgit, while the V goes for 88,000 ringgit. The top of the range City Hatchback RS, with its much more advanced hybrid EHEV powertrain, will only be available in a few months' time. So prices will be announced later on as well. But looking at the sedan prices, it should breach the 100,000 ringgit mark. Onto styling, the City Hatchback shares the same front end as the City sedan. This is a lot lower, more traditional looking hatchback compared to the taller and more box-shaped Honda Jazz from before. Unique to the hatchback is this grille insert over here. This has a honeycomb design and this is available on all variants. On the sedan, this is only fitted to the top of the range RS model. Back here is where the bigger changes come in. Now, back here has a much more steeply sloped rear hatch compared to the much straighter Jazz, and overall the taillights have a similar style compared to the City sedan. Now, a lot of people have said that this looks similar to the Mercedes-Benz A-Class or the BMW 1 Series, so I guess that is a good connection to have. That's good for Honda, not so good for the Germans, I guess. As for dimensions, the hatchback is shorter than the sedan by over 200mm. All the differences are behind the rear wheels. But beyond that, the sizes are pretty much identical to the sedan, even down to the wheelbase, and in fact, both models share the exact same rear passenger doors. Inside, this is nearly identical to the City sedan, which again is not such a bad thing. You get the same deal pretty much, extremely comfortable front seats, nice and small steering wheel which is nice to hold, and a big and responsive center screen with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto support. Most of the touch points are also very nice. The aircon controls especially work with a very nice feeling tactile feedback. The biggest difference to the sedan is in the color options. Over here is mostly finished in full black, whereas in the sedan it has a classier looking white. Again, this is targeted towards the younger crowd. The hatchback RS variant adds on a whole lot more red, even more so than the sedan version. But just like the sedan, the electric parking brake together with the rear brake disc is only exclusive to the hybrid version. Other variants are still using rear drum brakes as well as a manual handbrake. Now, as for the back, the rear seats are actually different compared to the sedan, and because of that, there's actually very slightly more legroom in the back here compared to the longer version. However, when it comes to headroom, it's not that great. I'm only 167 centimeters tall, but if I were to sit up straight, my hair is already touching the ceiling. Yeah, that's not great. One positive compared to the sedan is the individually adjustable rear headrest. As for the seats themselves, they are quite comfortable, but the center seat is very much raised, so this is more catered towards being a 2-seater in the back instead of a full 3-seater. Another big disappointment is the lack of a rear aircon vent that is only available on the top hatchback RS, whereas in the sedan it's fitted on all variants. The main highlight for the City Hatchback is of course the use of the Ultra seats in the back here. Just like in the previous generation Jazz, you get a lot more flexibility in terms of your loading capacity for much taller items and much larger cargo as well. This is the hatchback's biggest advantage compared to the more traditional sedan. To accommodate this unique seating, the engineers have moved the fuel tank from under the rear seats to under the floor, again similar to the old Jazz. As for the boot itself, with all the seats up, it's a little bit smaller compared to the sedan at 289 litres, whereas the sedan has over 500 litres. But the beauty of the hatchback is when you move the seats down and you get a much bigger, much taller load space. Onto engines, it's identical to the sedan range. The first 3 variants get a 1.5-litre 4-cylinder naturally aspirated iVTEC engine with double overhead cams, and this makes 121 PS and 145 Nm of torque. This is paired to a CVT transmission powering the front wheels. Honda claims the 1.5 petrol gets from 0 to 100 in 10.7 seconds, while claiming an average fuel consumption of 5.6 litres per 100 kilometers. The 1.5-litre EHEV hybrid version, however, is a lot more complicated. The electric motor is rated at 109 horsepower and 253 Newton meters of torque. There is also a 1.5 litre Atkinson cycle engine rated for 98 PS and 127 Newton meters of torque. Together, the City RS gets from 0 to 100 in 9.7 seconds, a whole second quicker than the regular petrol, although its top speed is lower at 175 compared to 195. Fuel consumption is obviously a lot lower, rated at 3.6 litres per 100, which is a big improvement over the 1.5 petrol version. As for the suspension, the City Hatchback has a much sportier setup compared to the sedan, again looking at its target market. Lastly, on to safety, and again it's pretty much similar to the City sedan. The lower two variants get just 4 airbags, but ESP is standard across the board. Moving on to the V, adds on the curtain airbags for a total of 6 airbags, plus Honda Lane Watch as well. And just like at launch, the Honda Sensing Active Safety Suite is exclusive to the City Hatchback RS. This adds on the full suite of autonomous emergency braking, adaptive cruise control, active lane keep assist for a full semi-autonomous level 2 driving, which makes it the best equipped car in its particular segment. In comparison, the Nissan Almera may have AEB across its entire range, but it does not have adaptive cruise control. The Toyota Yaris, meanwhile, may have adaptive cruise control, but it does not have active lane keep assist like the City does. The only thing that's missing on the Honda is a low-speed follow function. And surprisingly enough, just like in the City sedan, the hatchback version comes without the V sensing variant. Hopefully, this variant will be available sometime soon. So that's our quick walk-around video of the all-new Honda City Hatchback. I think if you're upgrading from an old Myvi, this is an excellent option, but whether or not you should choose this over a regular City sedan or in fact its closest rival, the Toyota Yaris, that is entirely up to you. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. For now, thank you for watching and stay safe everyone.